Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to have a cook with me and I'm going to make the classic Ghanaian chicken cabbage stew, which everybody loves, and I know when you see this recipe you will try it and you will love it. This is packed with vegetables and it's so tasty and juicy, and with the chicken in there, oh my goodness, you just love this recipe, and it is very healthy as well. You can add any carbs that you prefer to this recipe, or you can just have it on its own, which is very healthy, as I said before. So I made this cabbage stew with curry and nutmeg rice, which you can see, and this is how beautiful it is looking, and it's a super delicious. So let's get started. So here I have my chicken legs that I'm using for this recipe. You can use any part of the chicken for this recipe and you are good, or any protein of choice, you can use it for this recipe as well. So I'm cutting into pieces the chicken leg, which I will be seasoning after. So I have about 4 chicken legs that I'm going to cut into smaller pieces. And so I'm all done cutting. I'm going to transfer this into a bowl. And to that, I'm getting my seasoning powders ready for this recipe. I'm going to use just seasoning powders for it. You can also use the fresh ingredients, which is great as well. So here I have the onion powder that I'm pouring onto the chicken. I need a large quantity of that because onions makes your food delicious. And then to that, I'm adding on some garlic salt. And then I've added in some ginger powder. And I'm going to add in some cardamom powder. Also, I'm adding in some black pepper and all-purpose seasoning. I'll put all the measurements in the description box down below. And also I'm adding in some salt to taste. So now I'm going to make sure all these spices go well on the chicken. That is what I'm working on now. So it is all done. I have a pot ready, which I have transferred the marinated chicken into because I'm going to cook it in the pot. And to that, I'm adding in some fresh bay leaves, also thyme and rosemary, to give it that aromatics, that flavor, and it's going to smell so great. And to that, I've put it on fire and I've continued working on the vegetables. I have the cabbage ready, which I'm going to cut into cubes. So I have first of all cut the big cabbage into half, and then I'm making my way of getting it into the cube shape. So I have a bowl ready, which I'm going to transfer all the cut cabbage into. So I'll continue cutting the cabbage until I'm done with that. I can see that some part of it is not looking good, so I try to take those part out, and then I'm continuing to cut it in the same shape and transferring it into the bowl. So we are all done. I went back to check on the chicken and it is still cooking. This is about 10 minutes after putting it on fire. So I'm going to stir everything up nicely to see where it has gotten to. It looks like it still needs some time, so I'll stir it to make sure it doesn't get burned at the bottom. And also remember, I didn't even put any water on the chicken. It's the water in the chicken that has formed the juices on it already. So back to the cabbage, I'm adding on some water in the bowl. And then I will add some salt. I'll top it up again with some water. And I'll allow it to sit for about 5 minutes. This way it can distill whatever is in the cabbage. So back to the chicken. As you can see, after 20 minutes, it is all cooked. It's cooked well, and the aroma here, oh my goodness, it is just so great. The chicken is all done. It is cooked, so I will just turn the fire off. And then I'll go back on prepping the vegetables for the stew. So this is the carrot that I'm going to slice nicely and then get it ready. I'm doing that in a diagonal style. You can do it any style you want. So here all the carrots are chopped, and then I've transferred it on a plate, setting that aside, and I'll move on to the next ingredient. That is my half red bell pepper. That is going to give it more fragrance. And I'm chopping that into cubes. Like I said, you can chop your vegetables any style you want. It shouldn't always be in cubes, or any style you want is okay. And I have the yellow bell peppers too here. Unfortunately, I didn't have my green bell peppers. I run out of green bell peppers. So if you have that, you can add it to it. So I only had the yellow bell peppers and then the red bell peppers, and I'm good using these. So I have a plate ready, which I'm going to transfer everything onto it. And we are done. The next ingredient is our red onions. which I'm going to cut into cubes as well. And then I'll transfer that also to the rest of the ingredients chopped. So that is ready. And I just decided, this is optional, I decided to use habanero peppers. And so I took off the seeds and then I'm cutting them into cubes. I want some heat in the stew. So I have that ready. I'm going to set that aside as well. And then I have my jalapeno pepper that I'm also chopping that into tiny pieces. So I'm making sure it is really chopped into tiny pieces, and then I will add it to the rest of the ingredient prepped. So we are ready on that as well. Now back to the chicken. I'm going to take out the chicken from the pot because I will be using the same pot for the stew. So I'm taking out the chicken and then also the broth or the stock of the chicken. I'm now adding in some olive oil, allowing it to heat, and then I will fry the chicken in that. So now the chicken has been frying for some time, and so I'm stirring everything up together. And then I'm using tomato sauce. You can use fresh tomatoes, you are good, but for this recipe I'm using tomato sauce, and I've added in about 4 ladles of tomato sauce into the chicken, and I'm adding in 3 tablespoons of tomato puree or tomato paste to it. So I'm stirring everything up together, and I'll allow it to cook for about 5 minutes because of the fresh tomatoes. I want it to cook well so I don't taste anything raw. And I've also added in some smoked paprika and curry powder to enhance the flavor, and then the fragrance here is just so amazing. So I'm stirring everything up together. To that, I'm adding in the chicken broth to give it more flavor and to make it more tasty. So I've added that to it, and then I'll allow it to cook. And also I'm going to add in the chopped habaneros and jalapeno peppers. Stir everything up beautifully. Allow it to cook for about 2 minutes in the stew. And to that, I will add in the onions, the red onions. I'll continue to stir it nicely. For about a minute. And then I'll add in the carrots. And with this recipe, the hardest vegetable here is the carrots. So that is what is in now. I'll allow it in there for about 2 to 3 minutes. And then I'll cover it for it to cook for another 2 minutes. And now I open it up, stirring everything up nicely. And oh my goodness, it is smelling so great right now. I've added in some salt. If you have any bouillon powder or anything, you can add to it. And then I have my cabbage, which I have drained out, and it was in the strainer to drain out the water well. And now I'm adding it to the stew. And you know, with cabbage, when the heat hits it up, it starts to reduce. So I'm putting the cabbage in gradually, and when I put it in, I will stir. In this way, the heat hits it and then it reduces for me to add more cabbage to it. So the first one has been mixed, and I've added the second batch to it, and I'm going to stir it gently. Give it a nice and a gentle stir. And that is what is going on. So around this time, you have to be patient so you don't splash or you don't pour your cabbage out of the pot. You have to stir gently and you're good. So to that, I've added in the bell peppers, the red and yellow bell peppers. If you have a green bell pepper, that is a plus. You are good. So I've added everything up to it. And look how beautiful. Look at how the colors are looking. It's just popping right there. And this, you just leave it on for just about 3 minutes and you're done. Look how our classic chicken cabbage stew is looking, and it is super delicious. Lovelies, I know you're going to try this recipe, and I'm telling you, when I had it, when I made it and I was trying it, I loved it. It was just so great. I hope you all try this and you let me know. Send me comments down below for me to know how you did. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.